Day 26, November 18th. This morning, it is dead calm. When I looked at the hourly forecast, it was 0 miles per hour out of the north. So I don't know how they can pick a direction when it's 0, but it's supposed to be calm or light and variable here for the first 2 hours of the morning. I picked a spot that's close to my office. It's just walking distance, quick little walk. It's a ridge just to the east. And it's been pretty good over the years. I mean, it isn't a bad spot, but it's one that I go to a lot of times when the conditions are like this, where it's really, really light wind, because you don't have to walk very far, which means you're not going to be crunching along long ways and spooking a bunch of deer. The deer around here are already halfway used to people just because it's so close to our yard and our house. So you get away with a little bit more. You know, sometimes I think they can smell you and not pay as much attention to it when you're hunting right next to the house like this. So far we haven't seen or heard a single deer go through, but I'm going to throw a plug for my Grizzly Grip bottle here. This thing is definitely is nice on a morning to have a mug of hot coffee. This is the 20-ounce size. You can just go on their website. It's grizzlycoolers.com, and if you're a coffee drinker, it is really nice to have the coffee in the stand. I don't have a whole lot of inspiration as far as, you know, what's going on right now on the farm. I've taken a few days off, and the middle of November can be pretty slow. I've heard of some people killing bucks though, so I think it was maybe a little bit better than I expected. But if you're going to take a break during the rut, the best time to take it is right during the middle of November. And then as the does start to get bred, more and more of them, then the bucks will, you know, the mature bucks will start moving more. So hopefully that's the behavior pattern that we're going to be working our way into here over the next few days. A lot of times on these morning hunts, we don't see a lot of action until about an hour after daylight, because the stands are back in bedding areas, and the deer a lot of times are out in the open, and it takes them a little while to work their way back into these spots. So it's easy to get to feeling like, well, this morning is sure slow, but then on a dime, you know, it can change immediately. So, you know, just the fact that we've got off to a slow start doesn't really mean anything.
Realtree's Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Cuddyback, Drake Non-Typical, Easton Arrows, Frigid Forage, Fuse, Grizzly Coolers, Hoyt, and Realtree.
I think I've hunted this stand, I'll bet you, between 30 and 40 times, maybe more than that. We've lived here for 17 years. I can't remember ever hunting here and not seeing a deer. I think this was the first time this morning that that's ever happened. So that's not necessarily a good record that we set here, but there was still conditions. I don't know, I guess just that phase of the rut. The bucks just aren't moving that much right now. But we're gonna get out this afternoon. I haven't decided exactly where to go yet. We've got this southeast wind in the forecast. I've got a couple of spots that only hunt well on a southeast wind. There really aren't any other conditions that they work. So it's going to be one of those spots. I haven't decided yet if we want to get close to some food and see if the deer are coming to the food, or if we want to stay back in the timber. We'll make that decision up during the middle of the day. So we'll get back out here in just a little bit, see what we can come up with. For this afternoon's hunt, I'm going to go to that blind that we put into the standing cornfield about a week ago. It's been at least a week, maybe a little bit more than that. I just want to see if the deer are coming to food, because I know at some point they'll start. And so what I need most right now is information. I haven't hunted for a few days, so I don't have the pulse of what's going on here. So this is going to be as much a scouting mission as it is, you know, a trip hoping to kill a buck. I just want to find out if they're coming to food, they're going to come to this spot. If not, then that kind of sets the tone for the next couple of days. We don't need to mess with sitting on the food in the evenings because, you know, the does haven't gotten their courage back up again yet to go out into the open. They get harassed so much during the rut that they stop coming out into the open areas to feed. And then once they've been bred and the rut starts to wind down, then you'll see them pop back out again. And when that happens, then the bucks that are still a little bit on the search, they'll check those areas in the evenings. So that's the goal tonight, just to see what's going on. It's a nice spot. I mean, it's going to be a fun spot to sit in, because if there are some deer around, they should pop into this little small corn plot that we've got back here, cornfield. So grab my gear and we'll walk down the road and pop right back into that redneck blind. That's pretty cool. We've had a decent amount of action this evening so far. The most interesting part was the doe that came in with that buck right behind her. He was a big-bodied deer, but he didn't look like he was an older deer, so it was kind of strange to see what appeared to be a younger-looking deer with such a big body. But that's the only doe we've seen, and I think the hope for spots like this rests on whether the does are coming here to feed, like I mentioned when I was getting ready to come out here. So the jury is still out on whether or not the does are back on food yet. But I've still got an hour left, so there's a fair amount of time where a lot of stuff could change yet this evening. The wind has died down probably, I'd say, 4 or 5 miles an hour, looks like. Like I said, about an hour, so I'll check back in with you and hopefully we can see some more action here before the evening's over. I think it's safe to say that the does aren't back on food yet. We've got, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes left, maybe half an hour. That one that came out with that buck behind her is still the only doe that we've seen. I was hoping to see a few and give me a little bit more direction on what to do with the evening hunts. But tomorrow morning, it's supposed to be a northwest wind. So I think we're going to go back after that one-eyed buck that gave us the slip. Maybe it was the 5th or 6th of November. I don't remember the exact date, but we haven't been back there since. And that deer, based on the trail camera pictures I was getting of him in September and early October, was a real homebody. I mean, he was on there all the time, all parts of the day. I think that little ridge where we hunted that morning is where that buck lives. So hopefully we can catch back up with him. We'll try him every time the wind cooperates for us here over the next few days. But we really do need a northwest. I mean, west is okay, but that northwest we're going to have tomorrow should be perfect for that spot. So if anything comes out here in the last little bit, we'll show it to you. But otherwise, I'll see you back here again tomorrow. And like I said, the conclusion to my little scouting mission is that the does haven't started getting back on the food yet, but it'll happen soon. And when it does, that's where all the action's going to be.